movies, half the things we celebrate are all in their honor.
You're right.
It's disturbing, and even we got Father's Day and Mother's Day, but nobody really get nothing real on Father's Day,
Mm-mm.
right? And so, yeah, no, it is revolutionary to be polygynous.
Mm-hmm.
It is a revolutionary act, and it's a real statement of manhood. And similar to yourself, well, actually, I don't want to project this on you, but and I've had a lot of women say they love me, and maybe many of them have, but the female
Mm-hmm.
wanting only you is perplexed when you say, I love you, and
Mhm.
I also need another woman as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, I feel like my soul is dying because I know I'm not living in a natural way when I'm
Mm-hmm.
engaging in that.
Mm-hmm.
Just as much as someone may do something wicked and they feel bad, like they're
Mm-hmm.
natural.
Facts. All right, so welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. And today's topic, we're talking about polygamy, right? And why I think in America it doesn't work as far as how America is set up. America is like an experiment to me. They do what don't work, and they praise what don't work, and they frowned upon what actually does, right? So let's look up what polygamy is. I believe that you have the right to at least have two women. Now, two women that you can manage, two women that you can take care of, two women that's feminine, two heterosexual women, not homosexual women, because that's a whole totally, that would mess up your whole dynasty, right? So let's look at some definitions before we get into this video. Let's look at some definitions before we get into this video. Let me stop sharing the screen. And I wanted to share, let's just read, right? Let's just read what polygamy is. Let me know if y'all can see the screen. Let me know if you can see the screen. All right, can y'all see? Okay, but that screen definitely have to be bigger, of course, right? So let's read. Can you guys see the screen? Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. Okay. All right. You have the word polygamy, right? What does it mean? According to AI Overview, Google, the term for a man who is married to more than one woman is polygamy. Polygamy is the general term for being married to more than one person at a time. Now, I say the basis is at least two. Now, anything more than that, if you can manage and you can do all of that, then that's cool. But it's powers in the number three, right? If you understand the 3, the 6s, and the 9s, it's powers in the number three. So at least two. And this is why I say that. Now, polygamy is something that I don't believe in. When a woman is married to more than one man, now that typically don't work. That typically does not work, right? But we're going into a society where polygamy, especially in the American, in the West, in the Western society, polygamy will be publicized. You got to understand what's going on. It's a fight, yin and yang. But let's skip down all the way to where they say polygamy. We're right here, right? Polygamy is uncommon in most places, and laws are usually in favor of the man taking multiple spouses, right? In North America, polygamy has not been legally recognized since European colonization. Aha, you wonder why. So I begin to think, okay, cool. Since European colonization, which means when Europe conquered, Christopher Columbus supposedly discovered something that, this is a history lesson, discovered something that was already here, that was already discovered, but of course he got credit for it, right? We adopted their ways, and we all know that the European colonization way actually doesn't work. Europe is failing right now. So if they ways work, why didn't it withstand the hands of time, right? Just like the European way is to keep the man outside of the household, right? Especially, let's just say, the black man outside of the household. They give women all the rights and equality and everything else, knowing that that's not in their best interest. So you got to understand the games that are being played. You got to understand the games that's being played, right? So just wanted to bring you guys a definition up of what polygamy is. And like I say, it's only in America that you cannot have these things, but on a global scale, it's well respected, right? And you have to be respectfully, you have to be, you have to manage it in a way that it is attractive. You have to manage it in a way that a woman is, they're being taken care of. Now, as far as woman to woman, they're equal. But as far as man to woman, that's not, that shouldn't be a topic, right? Treat them well. What you do for one, you do for the other. Treat them well, right? And watch your kingdom flourish, because it's also about probability as well, right? What happens if you have kids by both women and one of the kids end up dying? Let's just hypothetically speak, right? At least you have a chance for another one to reign and take over your family legacy and dynasty and everything along that nature. See, this play is about legacy. That's all that it's about. It's about legacy. So let's go on back to the video with Marquette, and I'm gonna leave the link in the description. Have to give credit when credit's due. Go check Marquette out on the Saint and the Sinner. Go check them out. I thought this was a great interview. So someone sent this to me and I had to react to it. No problem. Someone sent this to me and I had to react to it. No problem. In the meantime, while I get the other screen up, AirTech EMF protectors. Click the link down below. I'm actually pinning it in the chat. Click the link down below. Or go to the description. And this is how you support the channel. Protect your loved ones. Protect your family and friends from all these harmful rays that you cannot see, that's out there in front of your television, your phones, your Wi-Fi, anything along that nature. You need to protect yourself because cancer is running rapid, and you want to make sure that you're protected in all ways possible. Protection is the number one thing, especially if you're a man. Get this for your family. If you're a woman and you love your kids, get this for your kids. Hell, get it for yourself as well, because it will definitely protect you. Okay, let's go.
They're like, I feel like I did something wrong. Like, in a monogamous relationship with you, as much as I love you, I feel like I'm doing something bad because it's against nature. It is against my nature, and it is against nature itself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my soul is dying, just me with you. I'm bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
I need 2 minimum
Mm-hmm.
just to even feel right.
Mm-hmm.
And they have trouble understanding that because they expect you to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That part.
Oh, I'm in love. It's just only you.
And most young men are.
And I can agree with that, right? Because like nowadays, especially in the Western society, most women want you got to be damn near cuter than them. You're like, what? No. See, most women to me like women, especially in the Western society, because it's been praised, right? You know, that community, it don't have any requirements. So of course they don't mind crossing over, but they want you to be that way. Oh, high fashion. And there's nothing wrong with a man being fly. Like, there's nothing wrong with a man being fly, jewelry on, anything along that nature, because that's an attractive point to a woman's standpoint, right? But at the same time, and if that's what you like to do, that's what you like to do. If you can maintain and balance and do everything else and focus and keep all the noise out, and it's called a signal to noise ratio. If your signal is always on hyper focus, then it shouldn't matter what else you do, right? But women like women so much that they try to emasculate the men into becoming a woman, and that's not happening. Not over here on the Healthy Discussion Show. And it shouldn't happen in the world anyway, because a man needs to be masculine and a woman needs to be feminine. That's just how the nature go. We didn't come up with these laws. This is how nature go. But I figured out that people are living unnatural. That's why you have a headache. You're literally living unnatural, right? A woman can only get pregnant once a year, right? 9 months. And after that, she can try again. A man, he can impregnate you, a woman, every day if he chooses to. And I'm not saying that you should just go out and just drop your seeds off everywhere and you don't water it, and you got a baby mother over here, baby mother over here. Notice I said baby mother, not wife. So you're already putting a curse on your future, right? You have a woman here, woman there, woman there, woman there. You're spreading your seed and your legacy thin. Then it's going to be conflicts among the family as they get older, right? Then it's going to be, some people don't believe in karma and all of that, but then your kids are going to have to go through the things of having not a complete household, and you wonder why they grow up the way they grow up. It's because they didn't see it. If they didn't see it, they can't do it. If you can't see something, you don't do it. So you can't be mad at a woman that don't really understand how to treat a man if she grew up in a household where the family was split. How could you expect that? So that's by design. So as a man, you got to keep your family yoked. You can have two women, keep them yoked. Married women at that, because that's the highest honor. Keep them yoked, right? Keep the family together. Have both of them, making sure that the family dynasty is good. This is how I know this worked, because look at privileged people or people that worked hard to get where they need to go, right? 9 times out of 10, they will have a wife and they will have something called a nanny, which means that that's literally 2 women in a household. I don't care what anyone says, because that's what actually works. Literally, that's what actually works. So this unnatural way of doing things, and you wonder why you have a headache, you wonder why your life ain't moving forward, is because you're doing it the unnatural way. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about that, because mostly men can't talk about it because I guess they're in the European colonized world where it's frowned upon, and you shouldn't let the European frown upon you, because that's not your natural way. Let's continue.
Trying to do that.
Yes. Trying their best.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are just they didn't fully convert it. They didn't transition and don't even know it.
Right. You're absolutely right. If what you're saying about monogamy being unnatural, they would actually argue with that. They would try and make you feel like you're some greedy individual because you desire more than one woman and things of that nature. It's really unreal. And you talked about us being in a matriarchy. I look at
facts.
These different quotes and things they say. They encourage women to find their sexuality and express their sexuality, right? Whether that means go out dressed half naked, but hey, you don't want the world to see you as a sex object, but go out and dress half naked and express your sexuality, but get mad whenever they see you as a sex object. It makes no sense. None. However, men, they want you to be ashamed of your sexual expression, of who you are sexually. So the idea of being with multiple women is you're a player, you're a dog. You see what I'm saying? You're a Jody, you're a boy. All these different terms when expressing your sexuality is pursuing multiple women in a lot of cases.
Well, here's the crazy thing. For me, it's not even the sexual piece of it either. I don't I'm fine. I'll take care of that. But it's the psychological, it's the lifestyle, it's the daily experience of having the 2 women there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's the bigger family. It's the greater support. Like for me, it's like if my woman's going to go to the grocery store, I don't want to go, but I also don't want you to go by yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I don't want to go, but I don't want you there by yourself.
Right.
When my family is out in this world, and even when the people who follow me are out in this world, I said, look, never let there be just one of you. Never. This is a wicked world we're in. You hear me? People lying, cheating, stealing, and trying to do the most. Like, let there never be one of you. Even my mother flew in recently because we're going to host Saints Weekend, and you should come through the weekend before Christmas. I invite you. Okay. And some good home cooked food, good people. But so I wanted to test out all my mom's meals. So I said, I flew her. I was like, just go through. We just gonna cook up a bunch of stuff so I can pick the menu I want. And she kept going back to the grocery store every day. And I was like, look, you can take the car. I ain't going this time. She was like, no, your car's too big. And I was like, all right, well, I'll call you Uber. I can't I don't have time to go to the grocery store every day for 4 days. So anyway, she's like, no, I'll walk over there. I was like, all right, if that's what you want to do. And then she comes back from the grocery store with a story. I forget exactly what it was, but something to the effect that she wanted some kind of fresh meat. And she asked one of the employees, and they're like, oh, go ask so-and-so. Then she go ask the other employee. They're like, oh, go ask so-and-so. Then she asked this person. He says, oh, well, it's down this way. And she's like, can you show me? Like, don't you work here? Like, I
Right.
didn't went to 4 different employees by your direction, but no one's taking me there. And then he starts getting an attitude. And then it's like, see, my women, whether it's my mother, I don't have any children, but if it was my daughter, if it's my wife, whoever it is, they're weak. And weakness will be exploited in every society, especially sick societies. I don't want one woman there. 2 women is much better. They can at least support each other at a better level. So it's not the sexual piece. It's like, I don't want you out in this world by yourself. I don't want you at the grocery store by yourself. And also, I like the engagement of different.
You hit a nice point right there. See, mostly people would think, okay, you have it 2 women, you hypersexual. No. I think most men is not hypersexual. Like you engage when you need to engage, right? But it's not a hypersexual thing. And this is not like let's just say like a threesome thing. No, that's out the window. That's out the water. You separate. I think that's what that's what works. You separate. You don't have a 3-play. This is why. Because now what you're doing is you're introducing filth in your legacy and in your pyramid that you're setting up. So I think you're inviting the devil in for real if you do that, because at the end of the day, who does that serve? That's actually super lustful. That's actually unnatural. So to have one at a time, right? I think that's what works as far as 2 women. But if you're going to have some form of intercourse, it's one at a time. Y'all, you sharing that intimacy directly with her. Maybe next week you share another intimacy directly with the woman, one-on-one, right? But if you combined it, I think that's when the BS starts happening. That's when it becomes unnatural. That's when them being a little bit homosexual start happening, because that's what you introduce. So as a man, you have to know how to separate and conquer those things, right? Because a lot of people don't know how to play that game, and it's a game that's not taught and or frowned upon, and that's the game that actually wins, right? Notice all of the successful people. Like, let's just jump out your feelings, jump outside yourself, jump outside the ridicules, because I probably get a lot of ridicules on this video. But hey, oh well, it's a healthy discussion. We talk about things that's uncomfortable, but that may be righteous, right? So notice that most successful people, 9 times out of 10, they have more than one woman, especially in the Western society. Most of them have more than one woman. Now, they gonna be considered players and this, that, the third, but that's in their natural right. Now, how they do it, most don't marry, because in the Western world, marriage is not between you and the person directly. So I see why in the Western world you have to damn near be a player, or you have to protect your legacy and protect what you built. Because as soon as you get married, you don't get married directly to the woman, you get married directly to the state. So the state is in your affairs. Now, if you go overseas like Dubai and other places, the state isn't in your affairs. Therefore, you can directly be married off paper, and that's what it is. That's the natural way. Now, when you involve the state, then you have to go through state regulations. And that's why I think this concept is frowned upon, because even if it is accepted in the Western world, you would have to then change the laws in order to dictate and in order to make sure that what you're doing is actually something promising, is something that it won't harm you, because the laws of the land determine the future of the land. So the laws of the land, to me, in the Western world directly doesn't work, because it dismantles legacy and it dismantles family. Do your research. Don't believe anything I say. Do your research, right? When you marry to the state. Therefore, the state can say, hey, your child go here. You got to check in there. She get half of your whatever you built in life. She walk away with most of it. When they get older, they're going to be lonely. It's like it doesn't work. Basically what I'm saying. It does not work at all. And it doesn't work in the best interest of the family dynamics, right? Forget how she feel about it. It doesn't work in the family dynamics. That's why in the Western world, women think that they're equal to men, because that's actually unnatural, but that's what's being promoted. So of course, if you're watching things from the TV to different channels to the movies and all that, that's what's literally being promoted. Homosexuality, that's what's literally being promoted. So it's like they kind of mind boggled, or they're kind of in some form of indoctrination, not even willingly knowing that that's not their original thought. So you got to reprogram them in the Western world, rather than you can go overseas and do what you have to do, and the programming is less. Now, we all know that phones are beginning to rapidly be accessed, and the internet is beginning to rapidly be accessed around the world. And some things on the internet one don't need to see, because they don't understand the energy that it carries and or that it brings. So that could be problematic as well. But you have to have an understanding between the two. Like, hey, this is what I stand for. This is what I accept. These are my rules. These are my requirements. It's like a job. These are my rules. These are my requirements. If you don't want to operate underneath me, underneath my requirements, then you have to go. And it's no love lost. It's just that you're not for me, and or you don't belong in my dynasty. And it's just that simple. And man should stand on that. Let's continue.
Personality types. Like, I'm sure your two wives are significantly different, and each personality does something for you.
Right.
And when they limit it to the sexual piece, it really annoys me, because it's like, one, I'm not a pervert. And in fact, most of the persons who are perverts are women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the women are, and I know
right.
The women are disgusting perverts. I mean, they're using all these objects and electronic devices and all this extra stuff. And you go talk to
me, women are sexually overstimulated. Think about it. In the music, what are they selling? Sex. Sex. Twerk. Pop. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's all it's all. It's given all. They're selling sex. So of course they're gonna be overly promiscuous, because that's what they brain trained to do. Okay, look at the sexual market that they have with those toys, those zzz. I mean, Bugs Bunny. It's like, whoa. It's like, how many zzz do you need? They're gonna zzz themselves into a heart attack. They're gonna zzz themselves off this planet. They're gonna zzz, 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 zzz. Oh, let's switch the mode up. Switch gear. Zzz, 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 zzz. Next thing you know, what's gonna happen when them robots come out? And it's just, oh, I have a chance to get a robot and I don't have to deal with a man. My God, the Western society is gonna be flipped upside down. What I'm saying is that, and I don't mean to be a little bit exaggerate, but I want to paint the picture to you. I'm saying it to say that sex is exaggerated in the culture. Everyone is overly sexual, from provocative clothing to drinking alcohol, which then leads to that, to everything along that nature. It's oversexual. So until you begin to control your lust, then how far can you get? I'm talking to the ladies on this one. You can't get as far as you want to, because everything comes with discipline and control. So I have the Western society being over sexually stimulated. All these drugs that they have leads to what? Sexually stimulation. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think.
100 women, 80% of them now have done something gay. You talk to 100 men, maybe like 5% have done something gay. Like, we're not the pervert, they're the pervert.
You're right.
That's true.
And that's why historically societies have gone to the great lengths of female circumcision and all these various methods to control their monstrous sex drives. And so they're projecting that onto us, because their sex drive has depth, whereas ours has width, if you will. We want breadth. We might want to try something new. But all of that, just trying to sexualize it, like that's one of the things that bothers me, because it's for family, it's for legacy and lineage, it's for a lot of things other than just sleeping around, because we can do that.
Sure.
You're like, that's what most Americans are doing, right? They just don't have any order to it. They call it dating, or I'm seeing someone. And that's what annoys me, is when they bring it down to perversion, when it's actually quite the opposite. It's honesty and responsibility.
Sure.
Right.
Well, and I look at it and say, sex creates life. Okay. Right. So to me, it's one of the most holy things you can do. It literally creates life. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. So when they look at sex and they put it in a box of perversion, I don't think that's very fair, right?
Or honest.
So when I say men within their nature are sexually driven to women, this is important because it's also what drives our masculinity. You see what I'm saying? So a man with a woman will be more apt to go out and conquer the world. Right. And they inspire us, they motivate us. You see, so obviously we have a desire for women, but with that should come an accountability, a responsibility to take care of the women that you bring into your life. And so I look at life from through a lens of like natural tribal type of lens. So I'm with you. It's not about sex. It's about the tribe building a legacy.
Exactly.
Survival.
Yeah.
I hate to say back when, but if you take us away from the matrix, right, and put us in a survival world where we're living out in nature,
right,
there was no monogamy. There was no living, and there was no family, meaning husband, wife, child. Okay. Right, living off on their own in a house, right,
separated.
It's impossible. You understand? Like, to survive.
This is a very important point. Listen to it. This is how far most people have fallen. Listen to it. This is how far most people have fallen.
And the wild requires everybody's hands together. You may not find anything hunting today, but my group might. Okay. And when we find it, we share it, because you can't save it. There are no refrigerators. Okay. So there is no rich person. The wealth is in your body, in your genetics. And so they've twisted that and taken that and made it about monetization, right? Find a man who's resourceful, meaning a man who has a whole bunch of money. But a resourceful man is a man who's fit, capable, willing, determined, got a plan. And you're supposed to trust what you see and work with that man.
Right.
And in the modern day family, it's you're the provider for your family. Right. In a tribe, we are a tribe. We work together to take care of our tribe. Yeah. Whether it be hunting, gathering. Women could hunt too. They could shoot the hell out of an arrow. Of course, they can't carry it back. We can carry it back, right? But we all work together to survive. And today, I believe.
Listen to the point. We all work together in order to survive. When did it become, it's only the man that makes sure that the whole family is good? That won't ever work. Last time I was told it takes a village now, doesn't it? So you need both people, both parties, actually 2 women and a man, or whatever you in that order. Well, a man and then 2 women, right? As far as if you're trying to build a legacy and a dynasty and all of that, and the village and everybody else, because this is how it works, natural, in our natural way. That's why in the title that I said that we're actually having 2 women is natural. Because we got to go back to the natural way of doing things. We're the organic way of doing things. We're actually not doing things in the correct manner. And we wonder why we get in a certain result. It's because it's not natural. If you went with how nature goes, right, you can flow with it. But we try to put our own way and our own thoughts upon nature and wonder why it doesn't work, especially in the Western society. Let's continue.
Because you've taken out things like poly and the understanding of what a family should be, what it means to survive, we're crippled. Right. A man would try to survive on his own with his family. And of course, he's an island unto himself. He'll try and be the sole provider, taking his family solely on his back, right? And of course, we look at that like that's beautiful, right? She takes care of the home, you take care of all the bills. You're supposed to do that, but it wasn't like that back then.
Listen to it. Now, there's nothing wrong with being the sole provider. Well, it is something wrong with it, because how long can a man be the sole provider? Think about it. We age every day. So eventually, like, let's just put it on a scale. Eventually, that will run out. Now we're going to have measures and set up other things, but go back to the point of the natural way of doing it, right? It could be way better. That's the point of this video. Let's go back to the natural way of doing things, because we can't go back to the ways that we think that works best, right? That men think, especially a certain kind of man, the European man that thinks that work well, and spread his mythology upon the world. We can't go back to that. Let's go back to the natural way of doing things, and let's see how far that could take the entire family. See, you can't be selfish on this world. We want to see how far it takes the entire family, right? Let's go.
She took care of growing the crops. You see, and even skinning the hide when you brought it back. She put in work.
Yeah,
I think it sucks that we live in a day and time where you have dishwashing machines, laundry machines, all these different things that make the life easier, and they're still complaining. Right,
yeah, it's extraordinary.
When their work toll was exponentially more.
Yeah,
and they weren't complaining, and now they are complaining. It makes no sense. And so when you make people comfortable, we become crippled, and I think that's what happened. So when you look at family today, what we call family, it's to me it's a scam. Imagine this: you start your family, right? You take your resources, you raise your family to make sure they're safe and protected. Now, when they are adults, they move off and start their own family.
Okay.
Now, when you get old, you're likely going to go to a home. This is the modern day family.
Yeah.
You don't get to go live with your children that you raised. They don't even want you there. They'll likely see you as a burden.
Yeah.
And you likely didn't raise them with the concept of understanding that transitioning means not just me dying and you getting my wealth. You have to take care of me.
Listen to what he just said. And to me, this would make all the sense in the world. This is what make all the sense in the world to me. What we considered family in today's world, it don't work based on concepts, right? Think about it. Your parents get old, right? You're going to have to take care of them. I don't care what they say. You're going to have to take care of them. Some people are going to say that's a burden. Well, when you was younger and you was a kid, were you a burden then? So this is how this is the current modern mindset of men and women, right? This is both. Oh, well, they're going to be a burden in the future. Don't move them in. Make sure that, but they plan on leaving you their legacy. Make it make sense. Let me run this back, because this is one of the important parts of why I wanted to share this video right here, because it tells you about the modern day family dynamics and the natural way of doing the family dynamics. Let's run this back real quick.
Your family, right? You take your resources, you raise your family to make sure they're safe and protected. Now, when they are adults, they move off and start their own family.
Okay.
Now, when you get old, you're likely going to go to a home. This is the modern day family.
Yeah.
You don't get to go live with your children that you raised. They don't even want you there. They'll likely see you as a burden.
Yeah.
And you likely didn't raise them with the concept of understanding that transitioning means not just me dying and you getting my wealth. You have to take care of me. I take care of you when you're a baby. You take care of me. That's why you have a family. Like a tribe. If no one had children, you wouldn't live very long, right? And so the children that's coming up, these are your next employees, right? They should be learning what you learn, so they can help carry the toll. But in a family, we get our children out on their own, mostly before they're even ready. 18, they're already out on their own when they could be living in the home you live in, and all y'all paying that damn house off. That's your. I look at it like they're your future selves. You multiply when you create your children.
That makes sense. And that's why stats shows that why you think the Indian family is one of the richest families in the world now. They moved up the ladder because at 18, right, you would think, okay, your kids is grown. First of all, their brain ain't developed until they're about 25. So how would you put your kid out here in the world knowing that they're going to make treacherous mistakes because there's no guidance? There's literally no guidance. We especially in our community, as soon as you're 18, you got to go. What sense does that make? Like, think about it. That's why 95% of us fail. Because how could you go and be in a world that you don't know about? You wasn't programmed to even conquer, right? You have to learn from first mistakes. People don't tell you what you need to know. Most of our family members don't really know much. And if they do know something, it's regurgitated. It's what someone else told them. But when you actually apply it in the real world, it don't work because times have changed. So the same concept you had 20, 30 years ago isn't the same concept that's going to work today in today's world. It's not. It's totally different. So you're misguiding them, and then you telling them, hey, go out in the world and go figure it out. Now, there's nothing wrong with figuring things out and using your brain, but you can be equipped to figuring things out and make it a better place, because a wise man once told me you learn from other people, right? But if you have no one to learn from, how are you wise? If they only know X amount of things and they need to know maybe financial instruments or what's new, a new way of doing things and XYZ, if they stuck on the old way of doing things, how could you conquer? You will have to then learn, fail at a fast rate. You will have to fail so many times rather than failing less to gain more. That's why we have our parents and XYZ, so we can learn from their mistakes and everything else, right? But if they don't show you, hey, this is how you do this is how you do that, most aren't involved. They say that they are, but they're not, because either they got to work, they got to do this, they got to do that. How could you be? It's just facts. So what I'm saying is that we fail so far from the natural way of doing things. Like I say, the Indian family is one of the richest class of family, because when their kids 18, their kids leave when they're about to get married. And to me, that make all the sense in the world. When I have my kid, it ain't no when you 18, you gotta go. When you 21, you gotta go. No, it's none of that. When it's time for you to go, that's when it's time for you to go. That simple. So you can have a much better success rate in the world. You can save. You don't have to go out and pay rent at 18, 19. You can actually help pay your parents' house off, right? Which then leads to your house eventually. Well, you don't have to stay there, but it can be a part of the estate, right? It can be a part of the estate, part of your portfolio. Then you multiply that and give it to your kids. And then this is how generational flows start happening. But if you let them go as soon as they're 18, it's like you're crippling them, because society going to show them you're not ready for it. Women going to get pregnant. Men might try some things to get some money to go right to jail. So think about it. Underdeveloped mind or undeveloped minds.
And we're raising our children like baby birds. We're feeding them until they're well into adult age. Mm-hmm. And all they have to do to eat is get up and go to a fridge, man. That's all they have to do. Right. And right. if we were in tribes, when I'm going to hunt, my son's coming with me to hunt. Right. He's learning. He'll never be a burden. Mm-hmm. You understand? Only in those beginning years. Mm-hmm. But our children are burdens all the way up until they are adults, and even after
30s and everything.
Still. Absolutely. So you've spent your retirement. You've bought them their first cars, mm-hmm. and now you don't have anywhere to go. Yeah. Likely you'll end up on the streets. A lot of these homeless men out here have raised a family. So you raise the family, but in the end, you don't get a family. Mm. That's bogus. Crazy. in tribes, elders are valued.
You said it's bogus.
In tribes, elders are valued.
Right.
Your ability to lead, mm-hmm. guide, mm-hmm. your knowledge and wisdom makes you valuable. Mm-hmm. Our old people now, they're burdens. We don't look at them for nothing anymore.
That's right.
You know, my grandmother knew how to do preserves, mm-hmm. Plant grow. She knew what certain foods, what certain medicines were, mm-hmm. just by looking at the plant. Yeah. And all that gets lost when you don't transition your loved ones, your older people. And so now we're a bunch of people who really know nothing, mm-hmm. because we've discarded the need for elders and things mm-hmm. of that nature. Yeah. And so that's why I say I can see why a lot of men are saying, I forget a family, because not only most of them are saying it because they can't trust a woman they're marrying, mm-hmm. but really, what does a family give you in the end if you run it like a family? An American family leaves you, in my opinion, with nothing.
An American family, that's
an
right.
American type family leaves you with nothing. A tribe gives you legacy. Mm-hmm. A family leaves you broken in the end. I got a book called "The Modern Day Family as We Know It Is a Broken Home." This is even if it's a husband and wife in the home, it's broken if you're not teaching legacy.
I agree with that. Even if it's a husband, I agree with what he just said. Right,
the modern day family.
The modern day family versus a tribal family is two different things, right? And And if you're not teaching your kids legacy, then the home is broken. No matter how you look at it, look up and down. And then why should a man have to make sure that the family is straight when the family at the end don't make sure that he's straight? Think about it. That's a wicked point right there. And I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. We got to change that, because at least that's what I say. Go back to our natural ways, right? Our natural way. That's the only solution that I see. Everything else, like he would say, is bogus.
As we know, it is a broken home.
Is a broken home on Amazon or on your website?
On Amazon.
On
Yes,
Amazon.
sir.
There you go. On Amazon. And we're going to make sure, if we haven't already, we'll make sure that we have your YouTube channel tagged in the title.
Okay.
We'll make sure that we have your Facebook in the description, and also we'll make sure we link that book.
Okay.
And from that book, by the way, if you hit his Amazon link for his book, it'll have his author page, which will have all your books, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you know, there's a lot that we just went through there. And I agree. And I've maybe put it in different language or had different explanations, but we end up at the same place, in as much as this Western culture and the government has strategically broken down family so that they can become your father. And then what you're talking about with regards to the way the man gets played out in the end, it's comical, but the woman gets played out the same way.
Absolutely.
She gets played out the same way.
And when people see what I have going on, they come against it as if it's dysfunction.
Right.
And they say, well, how do your children know who the mama is? Like, they're not idiots. What are you talking about?
That's insane.
Right. So it's like, okay, asking me how my children know who the mama is somehow sounds worse than having a man raise your child who didn't father him because your relationship didn't work. That don't sound like dysfunction. And so here's what I tell people. Pisses them off, but I tell them that they're poly as well. They're just not accountable to being
They're
poly.
Dysfunctional. That's right.
So they are dysfunctioning poly. So they'll say I'm wrong for having two women, right?
That's true. Like I look at like people in today's society, even if they marry, right, and all these other things, you still have another woman. You might be behind her back. It might be in front of her face, but it's still another woman involved. So naturally, you're still gearing towards the natural thing, regardless. So why not just be natural? It's because you lied and probably told her, hey, you're the only woman in my life and X, Y, Z, and that's how it's going to be. You conform to the European way and or her way, and that doesn't work. Don't work. I don't see it working. It never did work. It don't withstand the hand of times. That's all I'm saying. Like I say, let's get back to the natural.
Most men have slept with more than one woman.
Yeah.
Most women have slept with more than one man. This would make you poly, right?
Okay.
But you've already got, mainly I say that because you sleep with multiple partners at that point, right? Yeah. But then you have a child, and now you're with this other guy who didn't give you that child.
Right.
What would you call that other than poly?
I'll call it dangerous.
Right. But we call them mixed families.
Yeah.
But this is happening because we're poly.
Right.
Right. So poly is or polygyny or whatever is entertainer sleeping with multiple people. If we didn't have that world, we wouldn't have single mothers. We wouldn't have stepfathers and stepmothers. If we were truly monogamous, we meet one person, marry them, and stay with them. You wouldn't have the world you have. So I try and tell them, as much as you guys hate the idea of poly, the world looks like it looks because naturally you're poly. You guys are sleeping with multiple people.
And I want to pull that apart because there's polygyny, and then there's this term poly that people are using. And I do want to draw a very clear distinction, because I'm against poly in terms of polyamory and all those other concepts that are going to root from this prefix poly. I am only in favor of polygyny, the specific state of a man having multiple wives.
Absolutely.
The wives themselves.
Ding, 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 ding. I'm in agreement with all that. I don't agree with a woman having more than one husband and more than one partner. No, it doesn't work like that. That's actually a demonic force. It don't work like that. But I believe in polygyny. Big difference. Big difference. And that's how the hierarchy is supposed to go.
Are monogamous to that one man, and the man has multiple wives. So I want everyone to be clear on that. I don't think that a woman by nature is non-monogamous. And further, the ability of the woman to have a healthy body is not there when she's not monogamous. The female sexual apparatus is very sensitive. We're talking urinary tract infections, yeast infections. We're talking about like a multitude of things, which is why they go to a OBGYN or what do they call it? They get the pap smear and all this stuff every year. It's a sensitive environment. Woman is not designed to be non-monogamous. So when you hear women talking about polyamory, these women are disgusting pervert pigs. So I just wanted to be clear. I don't condone that. I'm not talking about that.
That was well said. Well, on that note, check out the length of the video. Check it out in the description. I give credit when credit's due. Go holler at marquettdavon, the saint and the sinner. He does an excellent job of bringing things together. And subscribe, like, repost, share this video. Subscribe, like, repost this video. Don't forget to hit the AirTag EMF pinned to the top of the chat. And remember, positivity over negativity always. On that note, I'm out. Hope y'all learned something today. Hope you learned something today. Go back to your natural ways. Go back